Hello there, dreamers. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Royce. Today we are going to be diving into the 100 Acre Wood as I show all of you my Winnie the Pooh collection. I am so excited, so let's get started. And as always, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Royce. I am a painter, sculptor, and a collector. And collecting these toys, plush, books has been such a fun journey. And it's also been something that, like, for me, Winnie the Pooh has always been in my life. He is somebody that I grew up with. I feel like the 100 Acre Wood is a part of me. It's kind of like Toy Story. And these toys, plush, books are all part of my childhood. Some of these things I have had since the 90s, and some of them are fairly new. All right, so first up, I'm going to be showing everybody this book series, and it is a book series that's called Grow and Learn, and this was released in 1996. I still remember getting this book series from Walmart when they were for sale. It was a beautiful cardboard display, and they were all displayed on there. Fortunately, my grandma bought me the entire set. I did lose a couple of them here and there, so I had to acquire the missing pieces to have the complete set again. These books are beautiful. The inside is just flooded with the most beautiful illustrations that you have ever seen. It really makes you feel like you're in the 100 Acre Wood. This series has all of your favorite characters: Winnie the Pooh, Eeyore, Tigger, Rabbit, even Christopher Robin makes appearances. I think this is going to be the smallest piece of my collection. This is a cute little Jim Shore. Anything by Jim Shore is just a masterpiece. His artistic style with the carvings is just so well done, and I just love anything Winnie the Pooh and anything Jim Shore. So coming up next, over here we have some honey pots. Honey pots for me are always like what I picture when I think Winnie the Pooh, and when I was little, I always wanted a honey pot filled with honey. I never really was the biggest fan of honey, so for me, what I would do is get vanilla pudding and pretend like it was honey. It was kind of like the similar color, and it tastes so good. So yeah, honey pots for me are so fun. I think these are from Box Lunch, and if I can find the link, I'll link it below. These are so fun, and they actually come with a little honeycomb, so I think you can actually put honey in here, which is really cool. I never have, they're just for display, and I love them. Up next, we have a very flashback for me piece to show you. Back in the day on Disney Channel, in the early morning hours, it used to be Playhouse Disney. And on Playhouse Disney, it did show that beautiful series that ran from the late 80s into early 90s called The New Mini Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. But in the early 2000s, they made a new adaptation in the puppetry style of The Book of Pooh. And The Book of Pooh is basically like these plush and live action, but better. These puppets are the best I've ever seen in terms of like Pooh adapted from cartoon into like a realism form. And this show was so good. It had a couple movies, and the Playhouse Disney actually released quite a bit of VHS, yes, my 90s kids out there, of the episodes for Halloween, Christmas, and a couple of learning shows. I think that Winnie the Pooh has always taught us lessons in a very fun, interactive way that's not so much like, oh, you're learning in your face, but you just learn from the characters, because every character in Winnie the Pooh has a personality, and I think that is very true to the traits of people. Everybody has somebody that's like a rabbit who's a little bit angry or just quick to the tongue. Everyone has a Tigger who's fun and bubbly, and everyone has an Eeyore that's a little bit more sad or depressed in life. Everyone has a Piglet who's a little bit fearful to do something or to step outside of their comfort zone, and everybody has a Winnie the Pooh. So I think that that's what makes this particular film series and just characters in general so popular, is that they are relatable, and you can find a character that you relate with. They are all beautifully designed. They all have those cute little button eyes, except for I think Rabbit and Owl. So yeah, they're just incredibly designed, completely recognizable, and they are stunning. Speaking of stunning, we have this plush series. This movie for me made me cry when I watched it. It was so touching and to the heart, and it just brought me back to my childhood. I am talking about Christopher Robin, that was released in 2019. This movie is phenomenal. It truly brings adults that grew up with Winnie the Pooh, which at this point are many generations, back to their childhood. And it just makes you remember being a kid and how fun it was just to be so carefree. The plush that was released for this movie are so well done. They released Pooh, Eeyore, Tigger, Piglet, Kanga, and Roo. And I actually added Rabbit over here. Rabbit, unfortunately, was not released, and I was so sad because my favorite Winnie the Pooh character is Rabbit, and I found a plush that I think is pretty similar to like their texture and the stylization of these particular plush, and I had to add him in. The plush for each of these are just so well done. I mean, look at Pooh, the texture. They look old, they look antique, and I love that vintage look. Of course, they are all articulate, which is really fun. They can sit, they can just come into different poses. I think the one that is definitely one of the more rare pieces is Kanga and Roo. I found her in Disneyland Paris when I was there, and I did not buy her, and I had her in my hand for $16, I remember, and I did not buy her. I was like, oh no, I'll pick her up later. Never went back, and I ended up paying, well, actually she was a gift. And what I was told was that she was over $100. So definitely one of the more rare ones that they didn't just mass produce, because I know in Pooh Corner at Disneyland, they still have Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, Eeyore, and Piglet, one of the more popular characters, which is completely understandable. If you haven't picked up these plush, do it. They are so fun. You can play with them. You could just put them on display on a shelf, just like I have them. Also, I have quite a bit of Winnie the Pooh clothing. I actually was a little bit surprised when I was looking through my closet, seeing how many Winnie the Pooh stuff I have. Today I have a sweater. I think this is from Box Lunch as well. If I can find it, I will link it below. And I just love wearing Winnie the Pooh stuff. I think that he just makes me feel a little bit more like a kid, and just to remember not to take life so seriously and to have fun. And I think that that is what I took away from Winnie the Pooh, is just have fun, friendship, love, and just be kind to one another. And I think that we could all use a little bit more of that. So who doesn't want to adventure through the 100 Acre Wood, go through Rabbit's Garden? This is such a fun collection for me to have. Last but not least, and this is actually going to be the oldest piece in my collection, is going to be this book. Now, this book was released and written by A.A. Milne, who is the original author of the Winnie the Pooh characters. Now, Winnie the Pooh was a story that A.A. Milne used to read to his son, Christopher Robin, at night for bedtime stories, and it became so popular he decided to release it as an illustrated book. And this book was released in 1961. The original was released in 1926, but this is a 1961 copy. You can see the illustrations in here. They're so beautiful. These are kind of the original stories that Walt Disney adapted into his feature film. And I can see why Walt loved these characters. I mean, they are just so likable. They are so relatable. And this book is one of the oldest pieces I actually have in my collection overall. I love vintage books. I don't know if you've watched my book collection series. If you haven't, I will link it below. I am obsessed with the smell of old books. I don't know if it was the paper they use or if it's just how paper ages and the smell of things, but oh, it smells so good. All right, everybody, I hope you all have had a wonderful time with me reliving my childhood. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. That way you're notified whenever I upload a new video. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Be nice to one another, and always remember not only to follow your dreams, but to chase them.